Today we're looking at a little bit of review of your order of operations. Now, I am not going to spend a lot of time with this because this you should have worked with quite a bit last year in 7th grade. The key thing with the order of operations is they're really just a set of rules that we use in mathematics to evaluate an expression involving more than one operation. So evaluate, what does that mean? That means to get it down to one single number answer. And we're going to use what's called our order of operations. What are the order of operations? Well, to evaluate, get a number value of an expression that has more than one operation. One of the first things we do is we evaluate inside the grouping symbol. So when we use our evaluation, we're going to always look inside our parentheses on your worksheet tonight and also do our exponents. You're really not going to see too many exponents on this worksheet. We're saving that for a little later. The other thing you're going to be doing is you're going to multiply and divide from left to right. The other way to think of it is you could actually be thinking of, oh, I am not going to just multiply, but I'm going to divide. And when we divide, we might be dividing first. It's because it always comes first from left to right. So it may be that we're going to multiply first, but if we see division, we're going to divide first. And then again, add and subtract, always from left to right. And if you see subtraction come first, you must do that. Here's another phrase that we've seen over the years, or maybe you've seen. Pandas eat mustard on dumpling and apples with spice. Now the reason we give this one as another way of remembering pandas is that pandas can eat two separate courses, dinner and dessert. Mustard can be on dumplings, but you could also have had dumplings with mustard on it. So pandas can also have dumplings with the mustard. Same is true for dessert. You could have spice, meaning subtraction first before addition. Kind of a different way to think of it if it helps you remember. Now when you do your worksheet, one of the things I'll ask is you'll see a problem. I want you to show your work either right below it or on another sheet of paper so that I can see what you did first. Meaning that if I'm looking at your homework and I'm going to see how you're doing this, I'm going to see that you had to first do the division before multiplication. So instead of writing it behind here, you might also have it written below, and you have 9 minus 18 divided by 6 happens to give us 3. And now we're going to take that, we're going to still keep that multiplication times 2. Now if I'm solving this problem, what am I really looking at? I want to now make sure that I do the multiplication. So what you notice is they kept the 9 minus, so again 9 minus 3 times 2 gives us 6. 9 minus 6 gives us a solution of 3. I like if you can show your work going down, then that way I can follow the steps that you did. You don't have to explain to me what you're doing, you just need to show that work for me. Key things to remember, the dot or the X mean multiplication, or a parenthesis. A lot of times you're going to see a lot more parentheses as we work with the common core than probably either the dot or the X for multiplication. So again, using our grouping symbols, 16 plus 9 times 4, well, we're going to add the 16 plus 9. We're adding 16 plus 9, we should have 25. 25 times the 4 is going to give us 100. So again, simply showing your work kind of below as you're doing each problem. Here we have a division line, and that line that separates, sometimes you think of it as a fraction, numerator and denominator, it also means division. So kind of looking at this, it says you can express division two ways. You can either use a symbol for division or a fraction bar. So in this case, we want to do what's on top of the fraction bar. 6 times 10 gives us 60. 7 plus 5. So at this point, we actually could continue simplifying if we were going across. We would actually have 60. And in our denominator, 7 plus 5 would give us 12. And if you try and divide 60 by 12, we are going to get a solution of 5. Some of your problems will get a little more complicated, have a few more parentheses. If they have brackets, it's just another form of a parenthesis. You're going to work from the innermost parenthesis out. So if you notice in this case, they went 48, they kept that for division, bracket 120, and then they put division, but instead of 4 times 5, we would now write in that our solution to 4 times 5 gives us 20. Now what's nice about this is if we again continue, 48 divided by 120. Sometimes people like to do this arrow. I know Mr. Roth does that in his classes. So if we're taking 120 divided by 20. Now if you're thinking, I don't like those zeros on the end. By all means, what is 12 divided by 2? 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. 48 divided by 6 gives us 8. Your worksheet that you're going to have tonight in class, or today in class that we're working on with the order of operations, we'll work on that, and hopefully this will make some sense to you. You'll remember from last year. These are other practice ones if you want to do them. They're not notes. I would just suggest doing the worksheet, and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow in class.